Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to take your model from Fusion 360 and bring it into 3DCoat Textura to texture everything. So if you haven't used Textura before, it's a really powerful texturing software that works really well taking CAD models and bringing it over, because it'll do a lot of things like UV unwrapping and everything for you, and it works really quite well. So what I'm going to do, so I've already brought this model in, but I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. So what I'm going to do is just close this for a second. So here's the model we've created in Fusion 360. Okay, so all I've done so far in terms of prep wise, because there isn't a lot of prepping, you don't have to do all of what I'm showing you now, is I've already added some materials to what I want to be different colors. So I'm going to turn my bodies off for you and just show you the canvas. Now there's parts inside of this that are not physically possible inside of Fusion, but we've done the modeling, so we've got the actual physical model, and basically the bits that are easily different colors and different materials, I've just applied a different material to. Now it doesn't actually matter what those materials are, because they won't come up in Textura anyway, okay, but I just tried to get it as close as I could do just for the fun of it. So once I've done that, all I'm going to do is go to File, Export, okay, and then what we're going to do is you can either go OBJ or FBX. Either are fine. Now it won't automatically do that. It'll want to do a Fusion 360 file, which is a .f3d. Now just make sure to change it. Just click down here, OBJ and FBX. They both pretty much get the same results for what you need. FBX is actually what is created from Maya quite a lot of the time, but OBJ works quite well as well. For this I've chosen OBJ already. So then you go to export, and it'll tell you that I've already created that. So just for argument's sake, I'm going to do FBX for you. Go to export, and the export window will turn up in a second. There you go, and you can see that I've already got my my OBJ, sorry, there. So once you've got that, I'm just going to open up 3DCoat while that loads, and you get this pop-up. Now 3DCoat is brilliant for a couple of reasons. One is it offers very cheap educational licenses. So if you can prove you are in full-time education, I actually got a license for a year for €2. Now I'm based in the UK, so €2 is at the minute is pretty much £2. I don't know how that translates to dollars or anything like that, but €2 for a year is a fantastic price. But also, even if you don't want to pay it, it will give you free unlimited learning. All that means is that if you're going to render it later on, once your trial expires for 30 days, is you get a watermark on your render, and that's about it. So it does offer you quite a lot of free learning from it. So once you get this pop-up, I'm going to click on this one, Paint UV Mapped Mesh. Now you'll get the option. Now you've got loads of basic ones like that you can try. I've got our own file, so I'm going to click on this one here. I'm going to find the one we've got. Now I've got my FBX or my OBJ. I'm going to just grab the OBJ and grab that. Now, if you don't know much about texturing in specific software and never used something like Maya or Blender, when you are texturing things properly, you need to have something called UV maps on it. And essentially what UVs are, simply put, is how is a material going to wrap itself around the model properly. Now, Fusion doesn't do UV unwrapping. So in previous videos where I've taken like Fusion to Substance Painter or Marmoset, what I've done in the past is take Fusion 360, put that over into Maya, unwrapped it, and then taken it back again. But 3DCoat Textura will do a lot of that automatically for you. So if you just click on here and click OK, you're going to get this pop up here. Now, a couple of things to look at. So UV map typing, auto mapping, so it's going to do it for you. We can't keep UVs because there are no UVs to it, so just make sure it's on auto mapping. It should auto map for you. The rest of this, leave it as it is. The only other thing you need to look at is a Z-UT coordinate system. So if I have this unticked, which it will automatically be unticked, is that my models, if I bring that in, and this is where it's going to start looking at the UVs for you, and you can see how long progress is taking up here as well. It brings it in the wrong way round. Okay, now I can rotate that, but then I'm going to have some weird effects with my lighting. So I'm going to go to new, don't save. So I'm going to grab that again and take my OBJ, click OK. If I go to Z up, it will reorientate it. Now, for some reason, I've never really gotten to the bottom of this, is that if you go Fusion 360 into a texture software, and it did the same with Marmoset, it did the same with Substance Painter, is it always ended up being upside down and back to front, and I've never really clocked on to why. So I'd always take it into Maya, unwrap it, and then rotate the model around. But Z up seems to solve that problem. So we've got our auto mapping there, we've got our Z up done. The other bit, which is why I added, so we go back into Fusion, why we added in these materials here, is you've got the option here where it will identify that you've applied different texture sets to it. Okay, so that just means that it'll be very easy. If I click OK, and it's going to optimize, and you'll see down at the bottom here what our UVs look like in a second. Okay, so first of all, you notice it's the right way around. I just need to bring it around that way. Easy. So down here are our UVs. So it's a bit hard to see because it's got a grey background to it, but essentially it's flattened out as a 2D net. Essentially, if you take like your cereal box or your tissue box or anything like that, if you were to unfold that and lay it flat, that essentially is the UVs of that box. It's the same with any sort of 3D model. Now, some things are more complicated UVs. So if you do like character modeling, car modeling, that sort of thing, obviously the UVs are a lot more complex. But 3DCoat Textura does auto for you, and it does actually a very, very good job of auto. Now, when I added these materials here, we've got them here. So if you come to objects, you see we've got all the bodies here. So I can untick all of those so I can hide them. But the bent out, it's quite annoying because I've got loads of them I've got to do. You can also rename them, by the way. If you just click on it and give it a name, it'd be fine. But if you come here to surface materials, these are just the materials I applied in Fusion. I can very easily untick. So say if I only wanted to apply textures to just this part here, now what I can do is just apply my materials however I want it to just that part there, and then I can bring back in the other ones I want. Now, the last thing I want to do just to show you before I end this here, because this isn't going to show you how to use Textura yet, this is just how to get yourself set up and ready, is just bake your map. So I'm going to texture here. I'm going to calculate occlusion, which basically leave all these settings as is for the most part. Hit OK. This is going to calculate the shadows, and you'll see in a second. There you go. So you can tell it's done because now you've got more shadows. Essentially, your model is casting shadows on itself, basically. And you've got this ambient occlusion layer here. I can turn that off and on. And then you can see how it's applied to the UV sets here. The other one we're going to do as well, texture, is go to calculate curvature and click on OK. Now this one's going to look a little bit more funky, but it's kind of self-explanatory in terms of what it does, and you'll see it in a second. Now it turns itself off automatically because what we can do, we can turn that on again later. If I turn that on, essentially it's just calculated where the curvature of your models are, because obviously if you're applying a material to it, it will distort or it will get weird effects if it's curved because it's a curved object. It will be different if you had a flat piece of paper until you bend it, you're going to have some distortion to it. So once you've got those two, leave your ambient occlusion on, leave the cavity map or your curvature map off for now. It essentially kind of works like Photoshop, is that you've got layers, so you can add a layer in there, then start adding in some materials to it. Okay, so if I was to click on here, you get a little preview, and I'll show you what it looks like to start adding some materials. Now I'm going to stop that here because there's not the whole point of this video was just to show you how to bring your model into 3DCoat Textura. I will be doing a set of videos trying to texture certain things. If you want to know how to texture this particular thing, there is a full video coming out on modeling. So I've already done a video on just modeling Majora's Mask. So the second part of that will be to actually texture the specific model as well. But I'll stop that there. Hopefully you found that helpful and interesting. If you've got any questions, leave a comment down below or email me at design with Simon@outlook.com.